classes today. Okay, so let's continue the inborn processes from where we left off in the last class. Okay, let me start recording. Okay, so last class we have started about inborn integrations, and we spoke about spreadsheet data loaders. So we have seen the spreadsheet data loaders, basically which are coming along with the Fusion applications. For that, we need ADF DI and ADF Desktop Integrator. It's a plugin which has to be installed. Then only our Excel can talk to the Fusion application to push and pull the data from and to the Fusion applications, right? And also we have seen the spreadsheets which are inbuilt with within the Fusion applications. Example, we have seen the spreadsheets by going to the respective page in the Fusion applications and creating the object from the specific spreadsheet. Example, we went to my workforce and the work structures. In the work structures, when we went to the job, in the job, we went to the create data in spreadsheet, and we have seen how to create the object in the spreadsheet. Similarly, we have went into the finance manage data access for the user interface, and there we have seen how to associate the roles, how to associate the data context for the specific user and for the specific role. Okay, in continuation to that, and every place, most of the place, Fusion has given the inbuilt spreadsheet plugins, wherein we can use the spreadsheet plugins to create the respective object data in that spreadsheet. Okay, so and the uses of the spreadsheet in that specific object varies sometimes object to object. Okay, one example. So let us say we are in the finance world. Okay, so as part of the finance implementation, typically what happens in any of the finance implementation, initially we have to create most of the enterprise structures, right? To create most of the enterprise structures, example, I'm going to an implementation project, manage implementation project, and then I'm going to say get some financial project. Example, this is some financial project. In that financial implementation project, there is something called Define Common Financial Configuration for Rapid Implementation. Okay, which actually give a quick steps of what needs to be done as part of the implementation. Example, if you see, we have to manage geographies. We have to create the geographies and create chart of accounts, ledger, legal entities, and business units in the spreadsheet. It is one of the tasks where Oracle enables the spreadsheet users to create the chart of accounts, ledgers, legal entities, business units, and natural accounts, and segments in that chart of accounts. Many more things we can do in the spreadsheet. Similarly, they can also enable creating the bank accounts, branches in the spreadsheet. So most of the typical configurations, what needs to be done, whatever data needs to be loaded in the bulk, they will enable the Oracle. Most of those objects are being enabled in the spreadsheet format. Okay, so and the uses of that example, if you see this one, I won't be executing that. I'm just showing you. If you open this file, typically initially when the financial implementation begins with, once we sit with the business people and identify what chart of accounts needs to be created by having the thorough workshops, then we just define that these are the chart of accounts that we are going to create. These are the ledgers we are going to create. These are the legal entities we are going to create. These are the business units we are going to create. So typically Oracle has given a spreadsheet where actually you can go ahead and start configuring the segments, whatever segments are part of the chart of accounts, and identify the business units, identify the companies and legal entities. We have up to 9 level of hierarchies, and define the natural accounts, define the financial sequences. Once we define that, then Oracle has given a provision to validate the data what you have entered, and you can generate the chart of accounts file. Once the file is generated, we can upload that file into the Fusion application. So it is one way of exploring the spreadsheets. In the previous scenarios, whatever we have seen, we have downloaded the spreadsheet, modified the data, and uploaded it. And it is one version where actually we are entering the data here. Whatever data you're entering, I think I have some. I have a sample file. So which in this sample file, I have created 4 segments with in this chart of accounts with that currency and period of frequency as monthly, and adjustment period as once at year end, and fiscally started as 1 2018. It's all dummy data. And I created a chart of accounts, and then I created a business unit, and then I created uh, um, a company, company description, and some business units, whatever. And I have created some natural accounts and some financial sequences. So it's all the functionality, nothing to worry about that. I'm just giving you idea how many ways the spreadsheets can work, basically. So once we go to the past model, means based on the requirement, we have to build this kind of spreadsheet templates. So here, once the functional person, whoever is the functional person, once we give this spreadsheet to the functional person, the spreadsheet functional person can fill out all the necessary details. And if any new segment is being added, then we can add segment to the sheets. Automatically, the new segments will be added here. And once we have all these functionalities created, typically before loading the data into the system, typically we validate it. If validation successful, no errors found, do you want to preview the sample report? You can preview the sample report. And then once the validation is complete, typically what you can do, you will generate a chart of accounts file based on the data you entered here. Once you generate the chart of account file, it will ask where to store this zip file. So I can store it in my so I'm storing it. I'm storing it in my some location, and I'm storing my chart of accounts file. Once I have stored the file, it means Oracle has generated a file in a Fusion understandable format based on the data you entered in the Excel sheet. Once you enter that, typically what you need to do, the next step is Oracle has given upload chart of accounts. Typically, if you go click on this task, a scheduled process will get triggered, and you have to input the file what you have generated. Just browse the file and get that respective file, and then give the file here, whatever file, chart of accounts file. I'm not uploading it anyway. So once you have this file, once you upload it, then the structures and hierarchies will get updated automatically, and based on this, the chart of accounts hierarchies will be created, value sets will be created, and based on the cross validation tools, they will get updated into the Fusion applications. So it is one way the spreadsheet data loader functionality is being used. Validations, generating the file, use that file, and upload back into the Fusion applications. Same thing we'll go for. I'm not doing that. I'm just giving you the example, how many ways the spreadsheet loaders can be used. Okay, so similarly, they can similarly they can upload the remaining data. Same banks also same thing. It will actually, when we create the bank file, it will generate. It will this is different. This file is same as how the jobs will work, I guess. So we have to just enter the bank's information. Sometimes it will. Yeah, it's also same thing. So we have to enter the bank details and generate the file. Once the file comes up, then go to the system and trigger this job will ask this file, whatever file got generated as an input, and input that file, then automatically it will be loaded into the system. That is the other way. So one way of spreadsheet, as we have seen, just enter the data and upload into the system directly. And second way is to go to Excel sheet, generate the file and trigger ESS job, give this file as an input and loads into the system. That is different way. And there's other way, basically where we can generate the input the invoices. Typically, I think this user don't have the payables access. I'm going to log in as some user who has payables access. So example, roser.Burton. So I'm logging in a user who has access to create invoice, basically. So if you go to payables and create invoices, when this person can create the invoices manually, or they can create the invoices through the spreadsheet. When this person goes and create the invoice from spreadsheet, typically it will again show the format where actually so while creating the invoices here, typically it won't ask to generate the file, but it will ask to, if you see, this is one kind of format. In the previous, when we're uploading the jobs or associating the data context to user and roles, we are just clicking the upload button here. But in this case, typically it is asking to, it has a different parameters here. What does it mean? You can, whenever we create invoice, typically invoice, when we save it, it will go into the interface table. Once we save and submit, it will go into the, it will actually import the data into the base tables. So example, if you create a, I'm just giving some number and giving currency, invoice amount, I'm giving some amount, invoice date, I will give some, anything comes up in the square brackets with two dots, it means if you double click on this, it will open the list of values. That's the meaning of it. So it will automatically contacts the Fusion application and opens the list of values here. So I will just see. It automatically brings the supplier and supplier number here. Similarly, I will supplier side, I will just double click it because it has the square bracket with two dots. So this worksheet has a provision to give us the values in the LOV. Okay, so okay, and payment currency, I'm just giving USD. Yeah. So amount, I'm not giving anything else because nothing is added. So once it is entered, I can fill all this information. Whatever is marked as changed, that data will go and upload. If I save it, it will be saved in the interface table. It won't get uploaded into the system. Say row is inserted, but if you want to save and submit, it will ask to how many different ways you want to load the data into the system, because that is a feature of the spreadsheet. Okay, It is nothing but we're working in the application. There's a feature enabled with that. So for which business unit you wanted to submit this invoice? I want to do it for ES business unit. And do you want to submit for invoice group or import set? Or do you want to hold on anything? What is the whole reason? What is the accounting date? Based on whatever parameters you do, a request will get kicked off, and you will pop up with a request ID saying that this is a request that you got submitted. So you can just click on it, click on
Lakshmi,
OK.
can we see as soon as save, you said that, right? The data will be inserted in interface tables.
Correct.
So can we see that?
Data in the interface table?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we can see that.
Submitted now the request, maybe a job.
Correct. So the interface table is specific to the business object, basically. So if it is invoice, it will go to the invoice interface table.
Correct, yeah.
So
just I wanted to understand what is the integration between this document or spreadsheet and the application.
Okay, understood. So we already kickstarted to to pick it from the interface table to the base table. So while the job is running, let me show you what is the interface table. Same thing, go to the Fusion Apps over here, go to financials, you have file-based data import, and click on the respective release.
Can you go to AP invoice interface?
Yeah, let me see that.
Change in the interface table, I think.
So file-based data import for financials cloud, and file-based data imports. So which import is that?
AP invoice, not auto invoice.
Okay, that don't have the FPDA object, so it won't be here.
Pay-based standard invoice import, yeah, the same one.
Okay, so these are the interface tables basically.
Yeah, no changes.
Yeah, AP invoice interface and AP invoice lines interface, that will go into these interface tables. So if we query the data into those tables, once we did the save, then you can find those things in these tables basically. So and in this screen, if you see, once I save and submit it, I got the request ID. That's the only thing what I have. I cannot track what is happening with this record in the system. But in the previous spreadsheet loaders, if you see, we got the status as whether it is successful or failure, but we can't see that here. But there are other spreadsheet loaders where actually we can track the status too. So what my intention is, whatever business object is bringing the spreadsheet functionality along with that is the functionality we will be using in the SaaS model. But if you go to the next level where we can access to the application, access to the database, we can create our own spreadsheet templates with any of these functionalities matching with.
Okay. Here also we got the status of row got inserted. You can see the second column.
Correct. So it came up once we save the record, but once we submitted the record, we don't know what happened with when it's trying to insert into the base table.
So it talks about one interface information then.
Yes. So if I go to I don't think this person has access to scheduled processes. Yeah, this person has access to. So import payable invoice report is successful. Just now. It is successful. So let's go and see that what we have created with 1, 2, 3, 4.
It seems like a web ID, right? I think same concept.
Yeah, absolutely web ID. Yeah. So yeah, the search it. then that record should show up here. So it got inserted. So yeah, next posting it and distributing the lines. That's a different functionality. So,
So it is an FBDI only then, or any other?
oh, you're talking about WebADI or
Ah,
FBDI?
no, it's a spreadsheet upload, I think, right? What you are doing, we are doing correct.
Yes, yes. I'm just doing spreadsheet uploader. It is same as WebADI functionality of what we are using in the EBS.
Okay. Okay, just maybe I missed it. So what? How this document or spreadsheet got integrated with the applications?
Okay, so how it integrated with the till now whatever we have discussed, everything, every spreadsheet loader, whatever we have discussed went to the respective object. If it is invoice, went to the invoices object screen, and there we are kickstarting the spreadsheet loader.
Hmm.
So when we're kickstarting it, what does it mean? This spreadsheet loader, whatever we are opening up, that spreadsheet loader only talk about the invoice business object. And for that invoice business object, we have provision to save it to the interface table, or we have provision to save to interface and submit to the base tables.
Okay.
So
If I save it, means it will dump the interface table or what? Like what? How?
if we save it, it will dump into the interface table.
Okay.
If I save and submit it, it will go to interface table first. From interface, it will go to the base tables.
Like, is there any possibility for us to verify in the table, something like that, in future, like the way how we are doing in EBS?
Yes. So once we go to the interface table, we can go to the interface tables and verify whether the data is available there or not.
But I think okay, in SaaS also we can check that, right?
Yes, we have access to query the data, right? So we can go to the BI data model and write the queries on top of this table, and you can get the data.
Achha.
Or else you can have the status here itself. What happened with that row? Whether it is inserted or it failed to insert, or what happened with that?
Here row inserted means it inserted into interface table. We have to
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My question is actually, Lakshmi, just I wanted to understand the integration. If you see, there are two options on the top, there are login and logout. If you see extreme left corner, so this talks about connection between the.
Okay. So what happens, right? So which node, which application this spreadsheet is talking to? How do you know that? To know that, typically this is called edit options. If you click on edit options, it will say that we are talking to this is the Fusion application to whom you're talking to. And you are talking to FSCM user interface web module. You are talking to this web module from this Excel sheet. That's the meaning of it. Okay. So how it came up? It came up from the page, from the object page from which we invoke the spreadsheet. It will get this web app root page, and this buttons will have an inbuilt methods. Indirectly, when we click on save, it means it's nothing but import the data into the interface table. That is a method being called. When that method get executed, and based on the method results, the status viewer will display the respective error message. It will say that whenever that method is being executed, if the method failed for some reason or method was not completed for some reason, then the status viewer will say what happened with that total worksheet and what had happened with each and individual row. So that's the functionality of the Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, can we say that as a connection between these two, or whatever you showed us just some time back with the addition of edit options? Between this document and the application.
Correct.
Okay. That this I have one more question. So suppose we imported the row number 1. So can we add row number 2, maybe second row, and import here?
Yep, you can.
The same document.
Same document you can do. Whenever you import it, you will get the changed icon as a triangle here. It means this object, this row got changed. Whenever you say save or whatever, then the whatever action should be done, that should happen only on this row.
All right. So it will only pick up for the next time.
Exactly. Whatever is changed, only that row will get picked up.
Okay.
Yeah. So Lakshmi, save means it will insert into interface table.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it is actually functionality coming out of the application. So which doesn't, I
I
mean,
just
which,
have one question. I just have one question. So prior to this, you showed rapid implementation, right, of
right.
finance.
Right.
That does not go into interface table, right? That goes directly base table.
Uh, that rapid implementation, basically it will open the Excel sheet,
Yeah,
and one an Excel sheet in the previous file, if you see
yeah.
my, oh, not this one. So
No, I meant that big spreadsheet you showed, no, the chart of
right,
accounts.
I open the spreadsheet now.
Yeah.
So I open the spreadsheet. So I am logging in. No, those are done button. So when I'm logging in, basically when I'm creating a record here, so whether to send that record directly to the base table or interface table depends upon what button you are clicking. If you are clicking on save button, it won't be sending into the base table. It will be storing in the interface table or stage table.
No, I was talking about the other spreadsheet, the big one, the rapid implementation.
Oh, that one. Okay, okay, yeah. So this one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct.
So here actually we are not interacting with the, so okay, this in this system we are not actually sending any data to the Fusion applications. So whenever I'm sending a generate charts of account file, it is generating a file
Yeah, correct. You're storing
which
it here.
Fusion can understand. So how do we load this? Load this file into the Fusion application. You have to go to Fusion application and kickstart that job. We have some job called upload chart of accounts job. For that job, you have to uh, uh, input that file, whatever file got generated out of that.
That goes directly in base table then, no?
Yes, it will go to the directly base table.
Ah, okay, okay,
This
fine.
process will go into base table. Yes, because you are already doing the validations in the screen, so it means that it is passed.
Okay, fine, fine. Thank you.
Lakshmi, can we get these list of programs for which kind of document or maybe spreadsheet with what program we get those?
Yeah,
Can we
yeah.
get the documentation?
Are you going to get any documentation further, like what are the features, what are the pages where we can able to find the spreadsheet, upload all this? It will be
Okay, I will. I think I know where it is, but I don't have it ready in my hand. But I will get it for you. Okay. Okay. So yeah, still now we have seen whatever functionality coming out of the box. Okay, let's go a little more further. And what else we can do with the Fusion applications, basically. Okay. Example. Let us say here what happened. Example, if you wanted to give it to the business user, typically if you want to give this to business user should understand what each row means, what each column is meaning, what is the meaning of each column, and how to insert the data for each column. Okay, and if the business user is not aware of how to use this, then it will be difficult for the user to understand. And we are providing example some 30 columns or 40 columns in this Excel sheet, and typically business user has to enter only some 5 columns which are frequently used. So can we restrict this sheet to show only 5 columns? No, we can't, because it is coming out of the box. Okay, and what if this sheet doesn't have any instructions? I want to create instructions to the user. I want to do that. Okay, so can I create instructions to the user? And this sheet doesn't have instructions. So can I add instructions to this out of the box sheet? No, I can't. I can't create the instructions. Okay, and another thing. This is the example. It is an invoice number. Maybe in my company, this is being called differently. It won't be called as invoice number. It might be called with a different name. Can I modify the name of it in the Excel sheet? No, I cannot. I cannot modify the column name. Okay, you maybe whenever you some cases you wanted to maybe invoice currency, you wanted to make it as US dollars by default. Whenever some your business user download the sheet, you want to make this column as USD by default. Can you default it to USD by default? No, you cannot default the column. So there are many restrictions because it's not our custom built Excel sheet, right? It's what Oracle is giving out of the box in the SaaS model. And what if you wanted to have your own spreadsheet template with your own instructions and with your own number of columns and with your own default settings, and there are many more things. If you want to do that, can we do out of these things? No, we can't do. For that, Oracle has given something else called spreadsheet template. So what Oracle offered, but this feature is not yet available in the FSCM, Finance Supply Chain Management, but it is available in the HCM. In the HCM, what Oracle has given a list of business objects. Out of this list of business object, for whatever business object you wanted to, you can create your own spreadsheet template. Okay, like this. Have own instructions, own number of columns, different column name, and defaulting some column to some value, which will give a more benefit to the end user, business user, to do their work. At the same time, our integration won't fail because we are defaulting the column to some value, or out of maybe the sheet will have 10 columns and you wanted to hide 5 columns by default and show only the 5 columns. Remaining 5 columns, you are handling the properties internally, or you are applying some calculation and bringing the 5 columns automatically, something like that. So for that, Oracle has given something called spreadsheet template, which is actually available in the HCM module only. So you can create and modify spreadsheet templates and generate spreadsheet template to suit your business case. And you can, another advantage with that, you can save data periodically from the spreadsheet with stage tables, and you can retrieve that as and when you need it. Okay, so this is the flow chart. Actually, you can have your own spreadsheet data, and then you can generate the spreadsheet and load the data, and whatever business object we are trying to import the data, that data will be imported into the stage table. Okay, into the stage tables, and if that, while importing stage tables, if you have any errors, that errors will show back to the actual sheet where you can modify it and correct it, and we can load into the base table. So let's see how the functionality works. Okay, right. So for that, we have to go to My Workforce and Data Exchange. Data Exchange is the home page to integrate data with especially HR modules. So here, and basically we use this at the beginning of the implementation, because as I said, for any implementation, we have to implement the base structures of the HCM. That is a mandatory step, because without having the base structures of HCM, you should not implement any other module. Because to implement security console, we should have the base HR module to be implemented, which will help to create an employer, create a user, and create the data roles accordingly. So this stuff is mandatory for any other implementation. So Data Exchange is a home page to do any import, export for the HR objects. So here, if you go to the task list, we have HCM spreadsheet data loader. Okay, in these things, you cannot use the first 2 tasks or first 2 components if you are using HDL functionality. HDL is actually HCM data loader, which is actually very big topic, which we'll be talking about tomorrow and day after. We will be talking only on HDL for next 2 days. So if we are using HDL, we cannot use these first 2 components, and only have to use these 2 components. Okay, So manage spreadsheet templates is a place where we can create your own custom spreadsheet template on the Oracle provided data objects. Okay, so here, create. Here, while creating, we can create our own custom data object, custom spreadsheet template on top of these business objects. You can pick any of the business object from this list, any of the business objects from this list. You can also create bank and bank branches as well in this. And any of the business objects from this list, and you can create your own custom template. You can have your own custom template. Document types, element entries, and goals, grades, jobs, legislative data group translations, organizations, payment methods, payment sources, payroll information. We can create any of this object, any of this data object with your own spreadsheet template. Example, as we have created job, let's pick the job, and I want to create a template for job. So I would say rainbow job template. Okay, so it will create it automatically, and I'm creating on the business object job. And you want to limit to any legislative data group, then you can pick the legislative data group. No, I want to use it global, so I'm just keeping it as a blank. And another advantage of this spreadsheet template is you can create and update. Oh, sorry. You can create and update. If you see our previous templates, we were able to create only, we were not able to update it. But in this case, we can create it, or we can update that as well. Okay, anyway, I'm going to show you that. The job template. So I'm going to use it, and to enable business user to enter data as per rainbow company specifications. Okay, so we click OK, then actually it will open up the design view. Basically, it will show up how you wanted to create your template. By default, this template type is spreadsheet, and supported action is create and update. You cannot do delete. If you want to do delete, either you have to do manually, or you have to rely on the HCM data loader tool. Basically, the tool will help delete as well. So by default, status is draft. Let's keep it as a draft. And this is actually the define view. Then you can go to the design view. In the design view, basically, this is a list of attributes available for the job, which is a list of attributes given by the Oracle, and which you can use it while creating your attribute. If you remember, I'll go back to, if you go to my workforce, and if you go to work structures, and if I go to manage jobs, and if I click on the create spreadsheet, then this is the spreadsheet to create a job in the Fusion applications. So what are all the columns it is bringing along with that? It's actually bringing the list of columns, what Oracle has built on this spreadsheet template for this business object. Okay, that list of columns will be use list of columns. See here, these are a list of columns. Basically, this is a huge list of columns which is coming along with the Fusion applications. Even though we won't use it, but it'll give everything whatever we have it in the Fusion. Okay, and uh, 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 and whenever you enter the data, you have to upload it. Then it will upload into the Fusion applications. That's what it is offering to. But in our case, when I'm building my sheet, I don't want all these things, and I wanted to have my own instructions to the user, and I wanted to rename the columns accordingly, something like that. Okay, so what I will do, I need to create my own template. In the template, I need to create my own attributes around columns. So to need to drag the columns, whatever you wanted to from here to here. That's the primary step. Okay, so for that, here in this template, in the left side, we will show what are all the attributes we have. In that, it will show what are the required attributes, what are conditional required attributes, what is required for new records, and what is optional. So required, whatever is required, we have to bring the details any cost, right? So just select it and bring it. So some of the attributes, if I click only the effective start date, we got all these three together. The reason is these three work together. These three work together, like you can think as a primary key. It's a combination of these three. Job code, set code, effective start date is a primary key combination. That is the reason when I click on the effective start date, it automatically pulled all the three. Okay, why it is a primary key and how we identify which business object has what primary keys, I will talk about that tomorrow. Okay, and similarly, apart from required, I also want to bring conditionally required. So what are the conditionally required here? Job ID and set ID. The reason it's conditionally required, if you won't give the job code, you have to mention job ID. If you won't give set code, you have to mention set ID. As I mentioned, set code and job code, I'm not going to send any of these two. So that's fine. And what are the things required for new attributes?
Actually, how do we know whether if you don't give job code here, we need to give the job ID? How do you know whether it is a conditional required?
Yes.
I'm
going to talk about that tomorrow, actually. So I'm going to talk about that because Oracle documentation is there, and from that documentation we'll derive what will go together and which is based on what field. I will talk about that tomorrow, actually. Okay. So these are required for new records. If you wanted to create a new job, then these fields are required. Yes, we are going to create some new job. We are not updating. We are going to create as well. Or we are going to create some records or update some records as well. So I need these three things to my attributes. So I'm just clicking here. So active status. I got active status. I want to get effective end date. And I wanted to get okay, so effective end date, I pulled it, but it is not showing up here. The reason is that got hidden by default. Okay, so if you click on show excluded attributes, that effective end date will show. It is got hidden because by default effective end date will have null or it will have null by default. If it is left blank, if you see that if left blank, that effective end date will default until end of the time, that is 12/31/4712. It will take that time. That is the reason by default it became hidden, right? We can set the property. If you don't want to make it hidden, we can unhide it as well. I will show you how to do that. So let me get the name as well. Job name. I got the job name. Okay, I got these fields, and that's what I want. If you wanted to bring anything else apart from that, we have many optional fields. Maybe you wanted to mention if it is a full-time regular or a part-time regular. So I will get the full-time or part-time field as well. And if our company has any other details to be brought, we can bring any other details if you wanted to, right? So maybe in my case, I just want, I will also bring this regular or temporary. whatever, because these are the list of fields Oracle has given, but while we implement it, we will implement some of the fields, or sometimes we implement our descriptive flex fields. Even DFI fields will be available here if it is anything is enabled, and we can bring those DFI fields as well in our list of attributes. We got it. Now I got the list now. Now what I want, maybe I want the job code to show first. So I will just go and reorder it. I will want to make sure job code, I want to make sure job code goes at the beginning. And then I want the job name go. After job name, I want to go to affect the start date. And I wanted to mention set code. And then I wanted to mention active status, full time, regular, something like that. Okay, that's fine. As effective end date is hidden by default, and I want that only. I don't want to unhide it. I want to have that effective end date as hidden. Okay, so what else we can do?
So like this, we can rename also, right? You said
Yes.
the name.
Yeah, we can. I will show you that.
In this method, first we need to identify what are the required. Then we have to identify what are the conditional required. Then we
Yes.
have to, like that, we have to follow this approach.
That is a better way to follow the approach. So basically, required fields are must to create any record, so which that is available here. So typically I go with that. What is required, what is conditionally required, and then if we are going to create any new record, what is required for new records. That is first step I follow, and then I go with optional fields. What are fields required for our company, I will go ahead and get that. But how do you know these field properties? You will know tomorrow actually when I talk about, when I show the Oracle documentation and each object, what kind of properties we have and what is required, what is mandatory, what are all the primary keys. I'll talk about all those tomorrow. Okay, so we got that name. And if you wanted to change the property, example name is there, I want to change it as job name. So just click on the uh, uh, so I just want to, column heading should be job name. Okay, and description. So whatever description you wanted to, you can just have it. And list display type, it is a free form text or a choice list, and list of values if you want. And typically for this, it doesn't mean that. And default value, do you want to default to any value? Then you can say value or none, and visible and enabled. I say I want to do that. Coming to the active status. So I modified it to job name and effective start date. Maybe I want to default effective start date today. So I will go here and I want default to some value, and I will choose date as today's date. So specify date, and I'm going to specify today's date, and I want to visible and enable it. If you don't want to show this, you can make it invisible as well. So I want to do that. And for active status, by default, I wanted to make everything as active. So I want to choose some value. Um,
So in this case, for effective end date, the visible must be no or unchecked.
what is
So
it?
that is the effective end date. We have
Uh-huh.
one field,
Correct.
one hidden field is right. For that,
Correct.
visible must be no or unchecked.
That, yeah, that will might be it is unchecked here. I will show you that. So this choice list. I want to make it as active. Let us say as we don't know, let's make it none. Okay. So if you wanted to show that effective end date, if we show the excluded attributes, and if we see the effective end date properties, you can see that by default that field will be uh, visible is unchecked here. So that's why it's not showing up here. If you want to show it up, if you check it, then it will show it up. So uh, I'm just leaving it blank because Oracle functionality is that if it is a blank, then automatically it will end it to 12, 31, 4, and 1, 2. Okay. Right. So we have done that. And if you wanted to give any hints, any notes, create a note to that cell, then you can create a note there. So if you want to provide any information to that, so example, I wanted to say a note as no, it's not actually a different column actually, some standard text. So you can keep something description note, something like that. Okay, we have created that all the attributes. Next step is to we can review all that. We have advanced actions here, where actually you can at a time you can modify all the properties. So it is the attribute key and it is a column heading. Attribute key means which actually internally while loading the data into the Fusion application, this is how it will identify that respective column. And um, um, the values for each and every uh, object. It will see what is the view object and what is the query criteria, because when I say active status is actually a list of values. For the list of values, what is the view object to list the values and what is the criteria? It will bring meaning and tag actually. So these are advanced options for each and every column which we can use. So
Similarly, can we see this particular attribute will be hit at a particular column? Maybe in Vivo, you show sometime back.
okay, so you are saying what is the
Yeah, in this Vivo list view object, there is a view.
correct. Here we cannot see.
Mhm.
So here it will just mention the attribute key name.
Yeah,
But
there is a reference with the attribute key, but how do you know this attribute key refers to a particular column or something?
no, this won't give that information to you. But I will show you where you can get that. When I talk about individual object about HDL HCM data loader, then I will talk about where you can find that. Okay, so once we had defined it, next step is to go to the next step, instruction step. So here you can give the instructions, basically what you wanted to instruct in that spreadsheet. Basically here you can give the what heading you can give and what instructions you wanted to give. Any specific to our company you wanted to mention something like that, then uh, something like that. something like that. We can have as many information as you want. We can create as many headers and as many text you want, and we can um, won't be the case, should always be something like that. So we can have as many instructions as we can have, and then review page, where actually you can review the data what you have entered, and this whatever templates you have entered, you have provision to download the data in XML template or CSV template. The advantage of that is with these templates we have provision to upload the data in CSV format as well or XML format as well in the Excel sheet. Okay, I will show you how that, but for now I will just download the CSV template. Okay, I just got the data in CSV template. I'll just keep it, but I won't use it for now. Okay, so I have that, and then I will click review. Preview means it will open in the Excel sheet how our file should look like. So instructions. So it looks like our instructions will be instructions. Okay, maybe we're in preview. Our instructions is not showing up now. Once we save and close, it will show up. So it is a list of columns what we got: job code, job name, effective start date, active status. The list of columns what we got. Okay, then just to confirm it, let's close it, and then I will save and close it. And we have to change the status to active. I'm clicking it again, and then I'm going to change status to active. Save and close. Once you created it, next thing is we have to run this template. So how to run the template? Go here, and again go to run spreadsheet data loader, and then it will have the RB job template. Just click it. It will open the template, and yeah, it will open the template. So now we should have the instructions here. See that it is a header, it is instructions, header, instructions, and we can have as many as we can based on our company needs. Okay. Now if we go to spreadsheet template, so here how it works is typically the provision of this is we can enter the data and save it. When we save it, it will save in the stage tables. It won't get committed, and you can close this Excel sheet and again come tomorrow and open and again download that template. Again search for data set whatever you have created, and whatever is the stage table will be available here. You can add more data and again save it and go back. And whenever you feel you want to commit to the stage tables, base tables, then you can click on the upload. How does it work? Okay. How does it work? The working functionality of this is a little bit different. Typically what we need to do to begin with, you have to create a data set basically. So just create a data set here, create data set. Okay. And by default, it will create data set with this name. Okay. So what I will do, I will change this name as RB job template. Upload, I'll give some date. 4/16/2018 is the data set name. Okay, now and this template is RB job template because this is what we created in the system, RB job template, and the business object is job. Okay, now here we get the lines where we can create the job codes. So I will create RB underscore job one, like patch 3, something like that. Okay, and I'm going to have RB job 1 like that. And effective start date, I'm going to give today. And effective status is active. And the set code is, it will have the list of values which is coming again from the system, from the Fusion applications based on the CTC. This is the web top now. It is a system, it is the URL, and it is a HCM UI. HCM UI is a web top for this application. Set code.
Lakshmi,
Mhm.
we have given active status as the default active, right?
Uh, no, I think we have given the effective start date as default. No. Effective start date, we have given some. Yeah. Sheet comes for 7.
If you click active,
Okay. Active we didn't give.
okay.
Okay, so it was not there before. Set code. I am giving some set code. Basically, to make it global, people usually give the common set. So you can also give the same thing. So full-time, part-time, full-time, and regular temporary is regular. So note is the one I created, and this note will have the note basically. So it will have description for every thing what we have created. Whatever description is there, the description will come in this note basically. It is changed here. Okay, now what I can do, once I created it, I won't commit it. Basically, it was my data is not yet ready. So business user data is not yet ready. They will just go and save it. And once they do, so inserted for batch processing, it was not yet processed. So if you click refresh, it will say upload ready to process. It means now it is inserted into the stage tables and ready for process. So you have a choice. You can go and upload it now, or you can just close it. You know what is the template name. You can just close it and come back tomorrow, and again go back your run spreadsheet template data loader. Go here and again open it. It will again ask for that username password, and you go here and search for the dataset name here. It will come up here. Click here and search. Once you do that, it will open up what are the lines we have in the system. So you have provision to go ahead and upload now, or you think you have some more data came up, just click on it and insert it. So it automatically insert for the next one. So I will go ahead and create new one for the same thing. But I will just modify. Sorry. I'll just modify like this. So now it is changed now. Now you can keep it in stage table, or you can upload both of them together. So if you want to keep it in stage table, you can save it, and you can refresh it. Ready to process. So once you decide that you're ready to move into the base tables, basically you have to go to more and then upload. The request to import and load data was successful. So if you keep refreshing it, so it has to change to upload in progress basically. So if you don't want to monitor from here, you can always go to ASS. Either you can monitor from ESS or you can monitor from here. So both of same meaning. Basically, business user don't know how to go to ESS. Typically, they will go here and make sure what is the status. If it is successful, then it is successful. Then it is updated. So if you go to the same time, you can see that load business object process is successful now. So you can see the status here. The actually job information. It is actually evaluating all these tables before inserting into the system.
The person submitted multiple spreadsheet items. So how can they identify request? Which request is related to which spreadsheet? Or
okay, yeah, that's a good question actually. So if multiple people try to upload uh, 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 the jobs from multiple data templates, then how do we identify that? Basically, we don't have any job ID from here. So sorry, any request data set ID from here, which we cannot identify by request set ID. Typically, where we can do is we have actually backend tables from which you can identify from which that record got loaded actually based on this data set name. So the data set name won't show up here. It will have only data set ID. So we cannot from ESS user interface we cannot differentiate which data template data set template this came from. So typically for that we have to go into the base tables, not base tables. We have to go to the HDL tables and pull the data. So for HDL tables, I will talk about HRCDL tables tomorrow. Basically, I'm gonna pull the reports whatever we have run today. I'll pull the data from backend and I will show you that. Okay.
If it is a pass model, as you said, we can go to backend and search it. With a SaaS model, we don't have that option. So
no, we can search it. We can always search which we can always query it.
So we have backend access then.
Yes, we have. We can always query the data from database. We have that. We can query any data except some middleware tables. We can query any data from the Fusion applications in the SaaS model. We can do that
through any tool. It might be Toad or might be SQL developer.
No, not from Toad or SQL developer. We should always use it from the BI data model.
BI only.
Yeah, we cannot. We don't have access to that database through any other tool. They won't share the TNS names anything with us. So we have to query the data using the BI publisher data model.
Okay, and the schedule processes, whatever the user got submitted, that person can see only the whatever is submitted, or they can see any of the schedule process or all across the application.
What it will go basically what jobs you have access to. If you have access to this job, then you can see any job submitted by anyone. So it's based on not what you submitted, based on what job duty role you have access to. Example, you have that import and load HCM data file, and this will have a duty role which will be given to you by some job role or something like that. It means anyone submitted this import and load HCM data file, you can see that in your list. But by default, search will have your name here. Search will do by you don't have that name. Basically, I'm not sure. Basically, there's another field actually which will have the submitted by. It will search by your name. Basically, you can if you take out that, then you can see anyone submitted this job any point of time.
So this kind of feature is available only for super users or for everyone?
Anyone who has access to this role. Example, last class when I was creating a request set, I have assigned that request set duty role to a user. That user can only see that specific job. That person cannot see any other job. Okay, so we have created a custom request set. If you remember, that request set is actually starts with RB space I don't remember. I don't remember that name. We have created a request set basically, and we have assigned that request set as assigned that request set duty role to financial analyst job role, if anyone remember. And that job role we have assigned to a user, financial analyst RB user. It means that user can see only that request set in the tool schedule process, but the person cannot see any other job. Basically, that go along with what jobs are given access to that user. Basically, okay, I'm not able to see that. I'm not able to fix that. I don't know why it is not coming. Okay, so we'll talk about that after end of the session if you wanted to know more about that. Okay, so jobs that loaded, it got successful. So let's go to the system and then so it is RB. Oh, we have to go to jobs. Yeah, here we go. So we got the jobs created into the system and got inserted with the job name as this one, job code this one, active, full-time, regular. So with the effective date as 4/16/2018 and job set is common set. We have this yet got inserted. And here we go. And now can we modify this data now and again upload it back? No, we cannot. Once data is uploaded to the base table, you cannot modify this again and do that. Example, let us say if I wanted to change the job name of this one to some 30, okay, and I wanted to save it. It will say that you cannot edit successfully loaded records. You cannot do that. Any such edits are ignored. Use a new spreadsheet to update records in the spreadsheet. You cannot do that. So typically what you need to do, you need to create a new spreadsheet, means new data set. So what you need, you have to go and create a new data set again. It will erase everything and will create a new data set like this. So you can create a new data set now, and again you have to give whatever you wanted to do, whatever job you wanted to modify, you can give that. Job name, something like that. I'm giving some date. Active status, I'm going to give active.
But in the previous document, we can add a neuro, right?
Yeah, here you can add neuro. Here also you can add neuro.
Here we can add it, but because that sheet already uploaded.
Yeah, that is already uploaded. That is the reason we cannot modify that anymore. We cannot add new rows. We cannot update existing rows. We cannot do anything with that.
Even we cannot add a neuro also.
No, cannot do, because that's already any successful data set cannot be modified.
Yeah. Okay.
So Lakshmi, what are you doing here? You are changing the existing
Job code.
Okay.
So it's already there.
Okay.
It's already there. We are trying to update that. which was not allowed in our previous scenario actually. As first class when we discussed, we were not able to update the existing job code. With this sheet, we are trying that. So now I will just go and upload directly.
So what is this other option? No other
Lakshmi,
option,
what
right?
you changed
Sorry.
here? Lakshmi,
Yeah.
what you have changed here?
I just changed job name.
Okay.
Previously it was RBTB3 job 3 something like that. I just
Okay.
named it to job name something like that.
When we are trying to import, upload, or just we are getting one pop-up, right? It has two checkboxes. So the second one is, because first one is already enabled. The second one, download all successful records or something.
Correct. So what does that mean is, I'll show you that. So when I click on upload, typically it is showing up so I will try to upload.
Key means it's a kind of row ID value.
Which one?
Key. There is a column at the end.
Actually, it's internal. It's a hexadecimal key which will be stored for every record coming into the Fusion applications, basically, and it will be stored in one integration key table. That key table will have this key actually. So I'm going to show that table as well tomorrow. That HRC integration key map table. Any record coming into the system from any source, that record will be stored in that key map table. That's the meaning of it.
Initially, it is coming as 16 digit. I think after that it got changed.
It's a hexadecimal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 16. Yeah, I think 16 hexadecimal.
It is coming as 16 digit. After that, when the process got started, the key value getting changed.
That's true. That's true.
Kind of row ID value something.
I didn't observe that. So yeah, I'm just keeping all these things. Let me see that. Okay, so yeah, anyway, it is updating. So I will also save it. While uploading it, I will show you. So the first one is success. Okay, it is ready to process. It got updated. Now it's ready to process. Now if I'm going to upload, it is giving two options basically. Oh,
So,
while exiting interface table, it should show the option. So if you see, I'm working parallel here. One process is running here, which is actually inserting the data into the base table. One process we are trying to insert into the base stage table. We are doing multiple things here. So here, when I say save, basically, it is trying to save this job 5 record into the interface table. Here it will say that on failure, continue to upload subsequent rows. It means if you have more than one row to get uploaded into the interface table, and if first row is failed, do you want to go ahead with the second row? Then you have to check it. If you think that no, if first row is failed, don't go with the second row that needs to be uploaded, then I have to uncheck it. And second thing, download all rows after successful upload. Once it is uploaded successfully into the Fusion application, then go and query that record, again pull the record back to the system. That is the meaning of it. If you click on OK, typically it will go and search the record and get it back into the system, basically. Same thing. I mean, whatever it is means, whatever in the Fusion, that is what coming up here in the interface table. That's the meaning of go and search it. Sometimes what happens whenever data goes into the system, sometimes the set code or some values might be changed as per the Fusion specific text that will come up and show up here. That's the meaning of it. Okay. So it is ready to process. Now I'm going and uploading it, and Yeah, so we can play around. So business user can play around as much as he or she can on this sheet and keep uploading the data. And we have a provision to create many objects in the Excel spreadsheet. Uh, we have around 40 objects, I guess more than 40, which actually we can create using the spreadsheet, and we can enable the business user to work on the spreadsheet. Only thing is that user has to come to data exchange and run the spreadsheet. That spreadsheet won't be available in the business object page. They should always come to this data exchange, and then they have to run the spreadsheet template, and they should know what template they have to run to pull to insert what kind of data. So these are list of business objects what we have, and we can use any of these business objects to import data into the Fusion applications. If you see worker is there, it means employee. We can create employee as well in the spreadsheet. We have user is there, it means we can associate any role to any user using this business object. Okay, if you implement the Fusion applications and we have many employees got created, and if you want to assign roles to the employees in bulk using spreadsheet, it is the one you have to do. And yeah, there are many things like that. So whatever we are doing here, it is actually a manual process. Someone has to run the spreadsheet and get the spreadsheet and do it manually and upload it manually. Nothing can be automated here. Okay, think of a scenario where data has to be updated on daily basis. Think of a scenario where we have the finance applications in the EBS, HR applications in the Fusion. Then we have to feed the data from finance to EBS to Fusion or Fusion to EBS. Most of case, you're feeding data from EBS to Fusion. Then we have to run the processes daily. If you want to run the processes daily and upload the data daily, something like that, then spreadsheet data loader won't work, because someone cannot go ahead and do the manual work daily. So what they have to do, there should be an automated mechanism to upload the data in bulk into the system automatically. If that is what is our scenario, then none of these things will work. Then we have to go to the next import process, basically file-based data loading into the system. So that is a concept which we are going to talk about tomorrow. Basically, I'm starting with the HR-based file-based data loading called HCM data loader first, and then I'll be talking about FSCM, financial supply chain management data loading called FBDI later. And then I will talk about how to automate that data file-based loading into the Fusion applications automatically using the web services. That's our next topics to discuss.
Okay. Lakshmi, in earlier script, there is a business, you could see some list of the business objects, right?
Correct.
So each object talks about or specifies a template. You understand?
Yes, whenever for any business object we are trying to create spreadsheet template, that business object pulls what attributes we can use in that spreadsheet template. And same thing what we have did when we created the job template, we have chosen job as a business object, and when we created job template, here we filtered out whatever the attributes we needed from the complete list of the job attributes. Here the complete list of job attributes, and out of that we have filtered out only our specific attributes. Is it your question?
Correct. This specific to a particular area might be HCM or FSCM. At least, I'm talking about the business objects. Business objects only is specific to a particular area, or can we see all global to the application?
Basically, the spreadsheet templates, this list is getting adding more and more, but the spreadsheet templates, most of the objects are presently belongs to HR applications. So yeah, it's not completely, I mean, maybe some point of time Oracle bring it to other modules as well, but completely as of now, it is only for most of the objects what you see here belongs to HR only.
Then if my understanding is correct, then spreadsheet can be used for the HCM and FBDB can go for the FSCM. Am I correct or not?
If you want to go with a custom, if you want to go with a custom templates kind of thing, or custom files, custom data, yeah, and typically for FSCM, basically what happens, whatever the spreadsheet data loader comes along with the business object, like create invoice, create journal, or create subledgers, whatever business object bringing along with that, that spreadsheet loader we have to use. And other option is to use FBDI, but they don't have anything like this one, custom spreadsheet template. We don't have anything like that.
Yeah. One more thing, what is the, which will play major role in the Fusion application? FBA or spreadsheet? The other one you mentioned in between. So
HDL, HCM data loader.
yeah.
So any implementation, HCM data loader and FBDI plays major role for implementation.
Okay.
And the spreadsheet data loader is only for the maintenance. Once you implemented it, and if we want to do ongoing maintenance, then spreadsheet data loader plays the key role. So, and also at the initial implementations, if you wanted to load the enterprise structures, like a rapid implementation of financial module, and there also at the initial time to create chart of accounts or subledgers or initial enterprise structures loading, also they use spreadsheet data loader. And for ongoing maintenance, they use spreadsheet templates in HR module. Basically, example, let us assume that we acquired a company of 1,000 employees, and that company is getting some new jobs into our company. How do you load those jobs? Basically, do you want to contact developer to do that, or you want to enable business user to load that? So if you give this option, business user can go to this template and fill the details and load into the system. So some ongoing maintenance stuff, basically spreadsheet templates will be useful.
We can automate this, right? Spreadsheet, like interface, maintain, schedule it.
Yeah, if you want to automate that, this spreadsheet templates cannot be automated. You have to go with HCM data loader or FBDI.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fine.
If it is HR, HCM data loader, with financial supply chain management, you have to go to FBDI. That is the only thing we can automate. Remaining everything we cannot automate.
Even during implementation or during post production support.
Yes. Any automation, you have to go with that only. Okay. Yeah. If anyone has any more questions, let me know. Else we can start with file-based loading with HCM data loader tomorrow.
Lakshmi Narayan.
Yeah, Narayan.
Suppose once we uploaded the spreadsheet, as a customer did manual mistakes instead of something he updated with wrongly.
Correct.
If the customer compulsory, he need to change in that particular spreadsheet. From the back end, we can able to edit. There is no process at all for that.
So if customer load the data wrongly,
yes, manual mistake.
Manual mistake, and if the manual mistake is failing at the table level itself, like it is a primary column or it has some key constraints which got failed, then at this it will automatically show the error message saying that upload is failed. Okay, so, then user has to correct the data and load it again.
Okay, that is one condition. Why I am asking is, suppose RB underscore job underscore JB3.
Okay.
TB3. So you given TB4 and job name given TB3.
Okay.
In that case, we can edit, or we need to inform the customer there is no chance like that.
Right. In that case, if the data itself is wrong, it will be successful. Then if it is successful, then yeah. And until unless someone validates and catches it, then only we'll come to know. If they catches it, how do they modify? Two things, they can always create a new data set, and for the same job code, they can enter the new name and update it.
Okay.
Okay.
Again, we need to create the new data set, right? Customer want in the old data set which was uploaded already.
No, they cannot. Okay. If the data set is not successful, then they can modify. If it is successful, they cannot modify.
Okay, if successful, there is no option.
No option to change that old data set. We have to go to new data set. basically internally what happens is once it loads successfully, that data will get purged out of that interface tables.
Okay.
That is the reason you cannot drive it back.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Lakshmi. Bye, Lakshmi.
Bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thanks, Lakshmi.
Thank you. Bye bye.